back. Had a short break yesterday. So if you're on the session, do drop a message, say hi, let me know where you're joining us from. In today's session, we've got a few things to talk about. A core PCE price index we saw yesterday for the US at 0.3%. We saw the BOJ keeping rates on hold with no change there. But it all could change from tonight with the non-farm payrolls to be announced. What's the number going to be? Give me your best guess in the chat. But first, alrighty. Hey Marshall, how are you doing? Good to have you with us. Hope you're doing well. Hey Richard, hey Jinwei, good to see all of you. Again, if you're on the session, do remember to drop a message, say hi, let me know that you're here. Today is non-farm payroll, non-farm employment change day. So it's going to be quite interesting, hopefully quite exciting as well. Now, if you have any questions at any point in time, please feel free to put it into the chat and let me know. And you can help me out massively by remembering to click on that like and subscribe button. Okay. Hey Diana, how are you doing? Good morning. So we had a short, well, I had a short break yesterday. Happy Diwali to anyone out there who is celebrating. Hope you're having a super good time. Hey Magas, how are you doing? What happened yesterday? A lot of things happened yesterday. We saw gold come off the top all the way back down. We saw the dollar crash right back down again. So quite a number of things happened yesterday. Was it because of the news? Not super, not quite, but we're seeing prices react off the key levels, right? Which is also a good thing. Sometimes we need deep, strong retracements and corrections to increase that volatility and to give us that new trade setups to come around. Now, I'll share with you something really interesting, and I haven't thought, I was just preparing for this session, and it was something that I just noticed. And I just thought, wait, what's going on? Okay, so I don't know the details of this. I only saw this about 5 minutes. That's why we started a little bit late. I was trying to figure this out, but I only saw this about a couple of minutes before the stream, which is we have all the news coming out and all that, but if you look at the CME Fed Watch tool, right? I've been referring to the CME Fed Watch tool because the Fed Reserve, the next meeting is on the 7th of November. You know, over the last couple of sessions, live stream sessions, I've been showing you that we're expecting the rates to be cut by 25 basis points with a small chance of a 50 basis point rate cut. But when you look at CME Fed Watch 2 today, I saw that 100%. And I went, oh, great, it's a 100% likelihood for a rate cut of 25 basis points. But then when you scroll down, you go, wait a minute, 600 to 625? And then you scroll down further and you go, yeah, it's currently at 475 to 500. That's current. There's no more chance of a rate cut. There's no more chance of a 50 basis point rate cut, but it's showing a 100% chance for a 100 basis point or 125 basis point rate hike. What's going on there? What's going on there? I haven't seen any news that would suggest or support this. I haven't seen any data that would suggest or support this. My best guess is that it's a blip. What's the word? Not a blip. A glitch. A blip, a glitch, a technical error on the CME Fed Watch 2 website because I haven't and prices haven't reacted as if there's 100% chance of a 100 to 125 basis point rate hike. So that's a bit surprising. Let me know what you think. If you've got any super special insight, put it into the chat and let me know as well. So that was quite interesting. It came to the point where I had to go check the Fed Reserve website, and it still shows that downward push. Doesn't There's no big news about a possible 100 125 basis point rate hike. In terms of the news, looking at all the headliners, I haven't seen anything that would support that info, all right, that projection, unless it comes down to the what's that called, the election, right? But I don't think so. I don't think that that's going to, that's on the 7th. We got an election coming up on the 11th or something. Where was it? Wait. Um, yeah, I can't remember where was it. US election, yeah, on the 5th. So unless it's factoring in something we don't know for the US elections, it's really surprising to see that. I'm just wondering whether it's a glitch or whether it's something that I'm missing out on. So put it into the chat, let me know what's your view, what's your thoughts, okay? Um, Thanks for that, Diana. Office tour video. Uh, Simple setup. It is a bit of a makeshift, but it works. Hey, Angel Case, how you doing? Good morning. Hey, Misha Ong Misha. Good afternoon. How you doing? Hey, Noachuku. Hope you're doing well. Good morning. Good to see a lot of familiar names and a few new names as well. Good to have you all with us. Oops, like I was talking, that's a bit of a surprise for today. Don't know what's going on there. But with all that said, tonight, right, we just have in 30 minutes, in just under 30 minutes, we have the Swiss CPI to be released. Was a minus 0.3, expected to be a 0 month to month. I think that even if it comes out at 0, we might see some movements on the Swiss, but I think it's going to react more to what's going to happen on the dollar index. Tonight at 8:30 p.m. GMT plus 8, we have the non-farm employment change number was 254, expected 106. Now, if you remember from 2 days ago, I was expecting the employment numbers to be quite weak given JOLTS jobs openings being lower. But as we scroll through to Wednesday night, we saw the ADP being released at 233K. Right, it was a 143, expected 110, came out at 233. So quite a high number, against quite a relatively bad number on the JOLTS jobs openings. So that's going to be interesting. We're getting two conflicting numbers here, JOLTS being low, ADP being a little bit higher than expected. Again, all these have no strong or direct correlation to the NFP for tonight, right? For NFP for tonight. So it's still going to be a best guess scenario. Now, put it into the chat. Let me know, what do you think? It was 254K. It's expected 106K. What do you think it's going to be? Put a number in there. Let's see. What do you think it's going to be? Right? Average hourly earnings was 0.4, expected 0.3. I'm not expecting a big change here. While unemployment rate is likely to stay at a 4.1%, and ISM manufacturing PMI about that 47 level, still in that contractionary phase, being under 50. Right, so put it into the chat. Let me know, what do you think the NFP is going to be? What do you think the NFP is going to be? Non-farm employment change is going to be? Okay, and while you're doing that, while you're putting that number in, there'll be no prizes for a right number. There are no punishments for a bad number. So put your number in there. Okay. And while you're doing that, a quick preview into next week, where on Tuesday, the 5th of November, we're in November already. Soon I'll be telling you we're in 2025. But Tuesday, the 5th of November, we have the Aussie with the interest rate decision from the RBA. Following on from that, we have at night the US elections, then employment numbers for the Kiwi, and then the BOE, the Bank of England, with their interest rate decision. Sorry, my nose is playing prank on me again. And then the Fed funds rate on Friday morning, Thursday night, and then employment change number for the CAD. So next week is going to be Fed Reserve to end the week. It's going to be BOE in the middle. It's going to be the elections for the US, and it's going to be RBA with their interest rate decision. It's going to be a massive week ahead, all the way through to Christmas, like Diana said. Looking forward to it. I'll send out my email address so that you guys can send me links to claim my Christmas presents. I'm accepting Christmas presents early this year. Rather, I'm accepting Christmas presents all through the year if you guys are sending. All right. But that aside, Diana thinks that NFP might be at 110 to 115. Angel Case thinks it will be above 200, maybe 224. What about everyone else? My best guess, I think it might be um, I think it might be just under 200. I think it might be just under 200, a 180 kind of number, 180 kind of number around there. Right? Let's hope I don't jinx it. But I think that we might see a bit of a stronger than expected number, but a bit less than previous, which could see some dollar strength come back into play. We're seeing the dollar retrace from retrace last night. Um, might find a good base to bounce off if we see a bit of a stronger than expected number there. Okay, Noachuku says above 200. So we've got two-person thinking it's going to be above 200. Diana thinks that it's going to be a bit lower, around expectation at 106, so 110, 115. I think they might be a bit closer to 180. We shall see. With that, right, remember that the analysis that we'll be doing today or now is a snapshot of what's happening at this point. Obviously, the non-farm payrolls is when it's released could change things, and it's a guess as well, so it could change things quite quickly. Just remember that we're just going to try and cover the scenarios, cover the options, upside good news this way, bad news that way. You all know the drill, but we'll pay attention to what could happen here as well. Okay, and I'll try and stop sniffing. Now, with all that said, looking at the dollar index. Oops. Okay. Hey, Bill, how are you doing? Good morning. So now looking at the dollar index here, it is the 1st of November. We saw the dollar push down to that 103.80 level as we had talked about, right? To look to break that trend line. And that 61.8, or broke that trend line at 61.8 to trade down to 104. It came down on Thursday. Well, it came down on Wednesday, bounced back up on Thursday. It broke through 104 to come down to 103.80. So working out quite nicely, working out as we expected. Now, with all that said, take that away, take that one away, and that, because it's all done. And that red line too. Hey Meta, how you doing? Now at this point, you see that from this move up, dollar index is reacting or has been reacting to that 61.8 support level at 103.80. Take away 50, and that's what we're looking at. Okay, and that's from that move broke the trend line. At some point, we don't need that trend line, so we can take that away. I'll keep that point there now. This is what I'm looking at. Let me think. I don't think it'd be worth doing this all the way up. See, one is there. That was a October. The whole of October it went up. Now we're in November. It looks like it might come back down slightly. 23, 38. So 23 is there. And 38 is down here. All right. Now, what I'm looking at here is that my first expectation, trying to make sure that we can see everything. Okay. My first expectation is that for now, we might see the dollar come back and test 103.80. But on release of the news later, we might see the dollar push back up towards 104.60. That's my first case of expectations. All right. So what I'm looking for is on a stronger NFP, we might see DXY bounce off 103.80 to trade up to 104.60. That's what I would ideally like to see on the dollar index. If we see a weaker number or if we see the dollar weaken, then it needs to break below 103.80 to trade down to 103.45. If it breaks beyond 103.45, then we could see 102.80, but I think that might be a little bit too far to look forward to. So that's what I'm looking for. Now, if 103.80 broken, could trade down to 103.45. Overall, what you should see is that it is on that big upward trend, right? It's on that big upward trend. So any retracements, I'm still thinking it could retrace and bounce back up, but for the short term, that's what I'm looking for. Okay, makes sense? Let me know if it's good. Let me know if it all makes sense to you. Just catching up on chat. Which pair, swing trade. Nice week with TP hits, very nice, super. Okay, now with all that said, then let's look at the Kiwi dollar. So that pushed up slightly, would have come back down, would have hit your stop loss here at 20 pips because it pushed up, would have triggered your trade, then would have hit your stop loss at 20 because the dollar pushed right down before spiking back up again and then continuing, right? So we saw that volatility on the dollar index leading to the Kiwi. Now at this point, I'm looking at this. I'll take that one away. I don't need this trend line. And in fact, let's try and clear up some of these lines. Okay. Based on what I'm seeing here, I think we talked a couple of times about a potential um, counter trend trade idea on the Kiwi. But I think that looking at the way things are moving, it might be, as much as we're seeing that bounce, I'm looking for that dollar strength to come back into play. I would say that if the Kiwi breaks below that low, we could see it trade down further. Although I am seeing a bit of a hesitation to trade lower, there is also that possible inverted head and shoulder forming as well, right? So that's going to be quite interesting. Or even in the bigger time frame kind of view, we could see that push back up with a diagonal trend line. So those are the things I'm thinking. I'm still looking for a possible counter, possible trend following. I think that if you're looking at the Kiwi, you might want to see it break below 5940, and then we could trade it down. I see a counter. I see that inverted head and shoulder, but I don't see that as a strong possibility. So I'll think of 5925. I'll think of a 20 pip stop loss, and I'll be looking for a 60 pip take. What am I doing? Sorry. I'll be thinking of a 5925, 20 pip stop, and a 60 pip take profit to the downside. I'll look for that. Hey Meta, yeah, we can do Aussie yen, no worries. Break that low. I want to think of this as a counter, but I don't see it bouncing yet. Okay, we'll keep that one there. I think it might bounce, but not yet. Maybe into next week. Okay, so 5925. Kiwi will be looking at sell 0.5925, stop loss 20, take profit 60 to the downside. We're looking at DXY strength to push this lower. Okay, then onto the Aussie. We looked for it to test that trend line and to push down. It worked out quite nicely all the way through to about 40 pips before it bounced back up due to the dollar weakness, and then set right there. So that trend channel, right, that channel is there. It's coming back in. I would say that we're still now looking for this to push down. And you can see the TSRI MACD crossing down very nicely here. So this might even be before the news kind of trade. I can do it a bit safer at 6545, stop loss 25, just above the channel. Take profit down about 40 pips to the downside here, or even down to 50. I think I can even go down to 50 pips. Yeah, I don't see that. I think that one's a stronger level. So you could even go down to 60, 70 pips, but I think looking at that channel, about 50 will be reasonable. Check. Yep. Yeah. Okay, I'll do that. I think I'm just thinking whether this can be a bit narrower, 20 pips. 25 is fine. Okay. Now 6545, 25 to 50. So we're also going to look at 0.6545, stop loss 25, take profit 50 on a DXY strength scenario, keeping within the channel. Okay. Can it bounce from here? Possibly, but to buy it back up, you need to break above 6589 or 6590 to trade it up. But I think that for it to bounce, it might come down a little bit more before pushing back up. So we could still catch that trade. All right. Then on to the pound dollar. Right, same thing. We looked at it to reject that resistance, and it did it perfectly. It broke down, it pushed down. Could have spiked up and hit your stop loss there before continuing right down to your take profit of 50 pips. Okay, so that might or might not have worked out for you. Put it into the chat and let me know. That one's done. We take that away. Trend line's broken. Take that away. Keep that resistance there. I don't need this anymore. Take that away. And this level is down here. We can take that one away for now. Okay, so on to the pound dollar, what I would be looking for. Again, I'm thinking that it might push down on the news, push right back up. So I'm just thinking that the pound dollar might sit in this area for a while before possibly pushing down. And if it breaks this, so I wouldn't do anything in this area just because it's a little bit deciding what it wants to do. I'll only be looking if it breaks past 1.28 to 1.28 and then look for it to trade further to the downside. I would even just be looking at that point first. All right, so again, in this case, it'll be 1.28. Stop loss about 40 pips. Take profit, you could go almost 120 to the downside. That way. Right? So pound dollar continuing that big move. So you can see that it sits across, has a big drop, sits across, drop, sits across, and we're looking for that big push to the downside. 1.28, 40 to 120. Oop. Sell 1.28, stop loss 40, take profit 120 to the downside again. This is on DXY strength. Right, so we've considered quite a number of setups based on DXY strength, but not worried at all because I'm actually thinking that the euro dollar did well, right? So you would have entered there, you would have waited for it to close above this point. So you would have got in at that point, and it's doing well to the upside on the euro dollar, right? Didn't get to our 55, it got up to about 40 something before it's sitting right there again. What I'm looking out for here, and you can see that one's done. Take that away. That one's done. That one, 23 is broken. Oops. 38 is up there. Right, so I want to actually catch this point, and that's what I'm looking for. Now on this move up, I'm looking for it to stay above this point. Right, to stay above this point here. There we go. Okay, so looking at this, looking for the euro dollar, if it does stay above 1.0850, 1.0850, it needs to stay above that 23 and 38.2 level actually. It needs to stay above 1.0840. Take that one away. Right, it needs to stay above this area. What I'm looking for is that it breaks and continues to the upside. As much as I have that, I have this pushing up as well. Okay, so I'm looking for it to break above 1.0890. I'm thinking that on dollar weakness scenario, you could be looking at 1.089005. Stop loss would be about 25. Take profit, you could be looking at, no, you wouldn't be looking at that. Well, you put it there, you look for 100, but then you could be looking to get out at hesitation level of about 1.095053. Okay, so what I'm talking about is euro dollar. We're looking at a possible counter trend to buy at 1.0905, stop loss 25, take profit 100, stop loss 25, take profit 100, with a hesitation at 1.0950, and then this is on DXY weakness scenario. Does that make sense to everyone so far? What we're doing, we're looking at the different setups, dollar strength, dollar weakness scenarios, what to look out for. Let me know if it makes sense. 50 is up there. Yeah, so I would be looking at those areas there. And it needs to stay above 1.0840. If it breaks below 1.0840, then we're going to expect a continuation of the downside. Okay. Now, with that said, then looking at the US yen, right? US yen, we were sitting right there, thinking of the BOJ rate decision, no decision from the BOJ. We saw this push right down. And they actually didn't say too much. Well, they didn't say too much, but they did say, they as in the BOJ, right? They didn't say super, well, they didn't say that much, but they did say that, it was a headliner. I was looking for, wait, hang on. I was looking for that one headline from Oeda that said, there we go. Right, the next rate hike can be seen when we become more confident on the realization of our outlook. That just feels like, hey, they're not really there yet. They just need a bit more confirmation. So not thinking of political situations because of the government election over last weekend. Normal policy factors. There was one other headline I was looking for. Doesn't mean that we decide the rate hike only with that, right? So they want to consider the whole situation. So that's why we saw the dollar yen push to the downside. Now it looks like it's going to continue trading lower, right? If we do see the dollar index weaken, we could see the yen push further to the downside. But what needs to happen first is that it needs to break below this 50% level, right? It needs to break below this 50% level to trade down. What you'd be looking for would be 151.30, stop loss 50, take profit. You wouldn't be there. You'd be looking down to this point here. Check that. That 61 held, yes, we'll keep that one. In fact, I could keep that there. That's my resistance area. So that's my resistance area. We'll keep that one. I don't need that. Look for it to break below 151.30. No, you look at it a little bit nearer. You're looking at 151.40. So a 40 pip stop loss. And then you'll be looking at this overall move. Looking at this overall move, and we'll be thinking of as it breaks down to the support. Actually, you can look for that. I think that's fair. So that means that we're looking for it to break down 40 pip stop. You have 80 pip, 90 pip, take profit, or you could go down to 200. I don't think you'll move down 200. We might stop halfway and then continue on later through the week, next week, right? So 151.40, let's put that one in first. US yen, we're looking to sell at 151.40. Stop loss, we're looking at a 40 pip. Take profit, and okay, hang on. Stop loss, we're looking at 40 pips. Take profit, we're looking at 200 to the downside with a hesitation at 150.55, which is more likely where I think it could, if it does drop, it could close out there. Hesitation at 150.455, and that's DXY weakness to drag it back down, right? So if you see the dollar index push right down, which you see now, the dollar index is already trying to hold this level and could push up from here, right? So even if it doesn't, it might just sit across and then after that push up that way. Then onto the euro yen, that pushed up and then made some profit before coming right back down again. And you see that it came right out of the Bollinger. That's why it set across before coming back in. So again, Bollinger being very important there. Now, expecting the dollar yen to push back down has also led to some downside expectation on the euro yen. All right, but you wouldn't do anything on the euro yen yet because if the dollar weakness is going to come around, it might, although it might drag the US yen down, it would also drag the euro dollar up, which could pull the euro yen up. So it's going to conflict around here. But what I'm looking for on the euro yen would be, you see how that's going to cross, likely to cross down. I'm looking for it to either come down to the trend line and bounce back up, or to break lower down to this support level and bounce back up. Something similar to what is done here. All right. Trend line is holding quite strong. You can look at that. So you might even be, looking for that kind of move. A test and a bounce off the trend line, which you'll be looking at 165.25. Stop loss about 30 pips. Take profit would be a good 140 to the upside. Yep. Then onto the pound yen that didn't trigger, take that away. Look at the pound dollar sitting right across with that downside potential. So onto the pound yen, same thing. That's holding. We can take that one away. 23 holding, that's good. That all makes sense? Yes. Thinking that maybe it could test and break that support as a bit of a different view. That way. Then it could be looking at 61.8 to the downside. Just down to this level here. So now what I'm looking for in this case, when it breaks that support and trade down, 195.60, stop loss would be about 50 pips. No, would be about 60 pips. Take profit would be a good 100 and 200 to the downside towards the 61.8 level. Hey Vishal, how are you doing? Good to have you with us. No, I don't have any signal group, but the link for my mailing list is there. Jump onto that. You get the link for the Discord channel as well. So you can jump onto Discord, not a signal group, but a community where we talk about trades and update each other on possible trade setups. All right. So make sure you do that if you haven't already. And for everyone else as well. Link for the mailing list is there to get ebook, Discord channel, and all the other stuff. And again, a quick reminder to click on the like and subscribe button if you haven't yet. Okay, then now with that, we look at the US Swiss franc. Ooh, look at that. So that's because of the news. See, look at that. So if it came out at 0, I wasn't expecting a big move. I wasn't expecting much weakness on the Swiss, but it came out at a minus 0.1, and that's why we saw weakness on the US Swiss franc as it pushed right up. All right, so that played out nicely where it tested and rejected the trade down. We're done with that, and that. Now, it came down to this level, swing level, and 23.6 to push right up. Right, within this hour, it has moved, or this last 45 minutes, it's moved up a good 40 pips. And you notice that the dot is there, so it's out of the Bollinger. Most likely, it's going to come back in, test, and push back up again. While that can happen, I think that this level has held quite strong recently. Hang on. Yeah. So this level has held quite strong recently. I want to see it hold for now, and then like we expect the dollar to push to the upside. Now look for that to break above 0.87 to trade higher. I'll be looking at 8710. Stop loss will be about 20 pips at the very most. Take profit, you have a good 40 to the upside. Okay, so we're looking at that. US Swiss franc, we look to buy at 0.8710. Stop loss 20, take profit 40 to the upside. And then onto the US CAD. Did not have our zigzaggy move to the downside. Bit tired of waiting for that. Um, and also I'll show you that as much as we have this trend line, right, you also have another trend line this way. You could, no, it wouldn't fit. You could, yeah, so you're looking at that as well. What it looks like is going to happen on the, take that one away. No. Let me see, hang on. Yeah, that one there. And that one there. Okay. Dinah, yeah, for sure, pound Swiss. No worries. So what I'm looking at here on the US CAD is that as much as we have been expecting for it to drop, I think that that might be off the case for now. Look at an H4 time frame. On the daily time frame, you see that if it breaks above this point, we have that resistance up here. We would also have something in the interim there. Back to the H1, break above, that's very far away. So you're looking at round number 1.4. We got another level as a tail here. Now, if we look at that, I think that we could see it push up. I would say be very careful. It does look like more upside, but I still feel like, you know, a brief move to the upside could see it come right back down again. That's a resistance now turned support. So it's looking, right, the way it's moving like that, looks a bit like what we're going to see on gold. Because gold had that big upward move and everyone thought it's going to keep going, 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 but it didn't. It went up, touched the high, and it came right back down. It struggled at the high and came down, which we've been talking about as well. I think on Monday I was telling about the downward move potential. So I'm actually thinking that this might be that kind of scenario where it tries at a very high level, might try to break, but it might come back down again. So I would actually be happy to look at 1.3915. Stop loss will be tight, no more than 15. Take profit, you have 30. down to this level here. That's the first move. Then you can be looking at it continue down from there. That's what I'll be looking for. Okay, 1.3915, 15 to 31st. Could end up becoming a big move. 3915, stop loss 15, take profit 30, and this is DXY weakness. Swiss was on DXY strength. Okay, then on to gold. Look at that. So we're talking about this. I think I've been saying this on. I was saying it on Monday. I think Monday, Tuesday. I can't remember. Well, I was saying that it looked like it was going to cross over. It was had that downward potential on the daily time frame. It was trying to push down, and then on the day I decided not to be looking at the charts because I was out for Diwali. It started pushing right down. I didn't catch this whole move down, but I did see it start dropping, and I did catch a small trade to the smallish trade to the downside. I posted this question into the Discord group where I said, "Hey, on gold, do you think it's gonna push up or break back down, or break up or push back down?" A lot of you say that was gonna push back down. I agree because this 12758 was that previous high um, back in 23rd of October before it broke above that, right? And then as it from that move down, you see that it came up to that 38.2 and the 50% level. It's rejecting that and looking like it's going to push back down again. So I would say that on gold, there we go. On gold, if it fails or if it stays below 2760, we could see it push right back down. Right, and I have this level here. So if it stays below 2760, first thing, needs to stay below 2760, break 2740 to trade down to 27, almost 2700, 2780. Break 2740, could trade down to 2708. There we go. Right, so stay below this point, needs to break before we can see it trade down to 2708. Make sense so far? Put it to the chat and let me know. Now with that, then onto the pound Swiss franc. Pound Swissy came right down. We know why it pushed up, because of the US Swiss franc. Now, based on that, what is going to happen, or what is likely to happen, is that it comes up towards this, I think, all that away. Right? It's been a long time, relatively long time since we looked at it. So we look at this point here as my support. This level here as my resistance. What I would think is that we're gonna see it come up into this area. We're gonna see it come up into this area. and then push back down again. Ideally, in the best case scenario, is to see it push up even further to test that trend line and push back down. But if not, I think that just about that 1.1250 level will be a good place. Also because you can see it's really choppy there. So I'll be looking at something in this area to be rejecting and selling down. 1.1235, stop loss 20, take profit right back down a good 100 pips to the downside. Right? That's what I think about the pound Swiss franc. Let me know if it aligns with your thoughts there, Diana. Diana said pound is weak and I think it might go lower. Yeah, I think that's gonna now push up because of the US Swiss franc test, reject, and push back down. Super. I'm super glad. Question about the pound dollar dump to the fair value. Yeah, so pound dollar is going to sit there. I still think it's going to sit there. Yeah, sit there and push down. It's going to be that same view. I think what's going to happen on pound dollar in particular would be that test, reject, or not reject that much, break, do that, and that way. Okay. Then on to Aussie yen. Aussie yen, we saw that. Take that one away. Aussie dollar showing the downside. US yen showing a bit of a counter move back up. Maybe we could see it do that. So Aussie yen bouncing back up from here. I would say that look for that point there. It's not far. No, it's a bit too near. You could look to trade it. No, wait, let's clear this out. Got a top here. We've got that level here. Now with that, then we're looking at this point here. So I wouldn't do anything on the Aussie yen unless it breaks that previous low. All right, and we have that pushing prices down as well. Doesn't really fit. I would say that it's going to be choppy in this whole area. It needs to break below 9950 before you would sell it down. So 9930, you would sell it down to about 75 pips, 80, yeah, about 80 pips to the 90 pips to the downside. Stop loss would be about 30 pips, a bit more, 40 pips that way. And that's what I'll be thinking for the Aussie yen. Aussie dollar short, yeah, looks like that's gonna no risk matter. Aussie dollar short, gonna hesitate there for a while. I think the momentum's only gonna gain if you can break in to that 6550 level to trade further down. Alrighty, with that said, please have a good weekend. Trade the NFP safely. And if all else fails, I'll see you all next week on Monday. Take care now. Bye bye.